The Philippines will not rejoin the International Criminal Court, according to Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin. In a message to reporters, Bersamin says the Philippines won't return to the ICC while President Bongbong Marcos is not expected to change his mind on the matter. Bersamin's statement comes amid calls for Marcos to submit the recent House Quad Committee investigation findings to the ICC as part of its case build-up on crimes against humanity allegedly committed during former President Rodrigo Duterte's war on drugs. During the Quad Committee's investigation, retired Police Colonel Garma dropped a bombshell that Duterte allegedly offered cash rewards for every drug suspect killed in his administration's war on drugs. The National Union of People's Lawyers earlier urged Marcos to submit the Quadcom investigation materials to the ICC for inclusion in the prosecution's case build-up. During Duterte's term and the infamous drug war, government records show that at least 6,200 drug suspects have died in legitimate anti-drug operations. However, many human rights groups claim that the actual number of individuals slain during the drug war can be between 12,000 to 30,000. Around 100 Philippine offshore gaming operators are still operating nationwide even months after President Bongbong Marcos ordered a total ban on the sector, according to the Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission. Citing a report from the Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation, PAOCC Chief Gilbert Cruz says in a radio interview that while many Pogos have already been closed, about 100 are still being monitored. Even if these remaining Pogos split into smaller groups, Cruz says that they are confident of catching and closing them down. During his third State of the Nation address on July 22, Marcos ordered a total ban on Pogos as he pointed out that their operations in the Philippines have ventured into illicit activities such as financial scamming, money laundering, prostitution, human trafficking, kidnapping, brutal torture, and even murder. Marcos ordered PAGCOR to shut down all Pogos by the end of the year. He also instructed the Department of Labor and Employment to coordinate with the administration's economic managers and find new jobs for the affected Filipino workers. Senator Hontiveros is asking the Pasig and Quezon City courts to allow detained televangelist Apollo Quiboloy to physically attend the October 23 hearing of the Senate Committee on Women, Children, Family Relations, and Gender Equality. In a letter to the Pasig Regional Trial Court Branch 159, Hontiveros requests for the appearance of Quiboloy and his alleged cohorts Jacqueline Roy, Crescente Canada, Pauline Canada, Ingrid Canada, and Sylvia Semañez. Meanwhile, she only requested the Quezon City RTC to allow Quiboloy to appear before the Senate panel's hearing. Quiboloy, who was arrested on September 8, is facing criminal cases, including qualified human trafficking and child abuse. Hontiveros previously said she would question the televangelist why he recruited members of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ only to abuse them in various ways. In January, the Senate panel began its investigation into the alleged involvement of Quiboloy and his religious sect in several criminal activities. Among these cases are large-scale human trafficking, rape, and other rights abuses allegedly committed by the KJC under Quiboloy's leadership. Although he was invited, the televangelist skipped the probe and was represented by his legal counsel. Senator Bong Go, who was the aide of former President Rodrigo Duterte, mulls filing a resolution to kickstart the Senate investigation into the drug war under Duterte's administration. According to Go, he is very much willing to initiate a parallel probe in the Senate if there is a need for it. The House of Representatives Quad Committee is currently investigating the war on drugs during the Duterte administration.
Kung kakailanganin po para magkaroon tayo ng parallel investigation dito sa Senado para malaman po natin ng katotohanan, para malaman natin kung ano talagang totoo at ano po yung naidudulot nito at tulong nito sa ating mga kababayan. Nakatulong ba ito sa ating pamumuhay, ang war on drugs?
During the House of Representatives Quad Committee hearing on Friday, October 11, retired Police Colonel Garma said Go allegedly coordinated with National Police Commission Commissioner Edilberto Leonardo in setting up a system to give police officers cash incentives for every drug suspect in the drug list killed. Garma also said Go was working with his aide, Ermina Espino, who is also known as Muking, in the financial operations related to the drug war. Following Garma's testimony, the Quad panel summoned Espino to its next hearing on the drug war. For his part, Go belies Garma's accusations.
Wala pong reward system. Full support po si dating Pangulong Duterte sa police, sa uniform personnel. In fact, 2018, pinadoble niya po ang sahod ng police, military, uniform personnel. Pinaghirapan natin yon, pinaglaban natin yon. para magampanan pa nila ang kanilang trabaho. Pero let me repeat, wala pong reward system na sinasabi nila ngayon. Masyado pong baseless accusation po ito.
According to Go, Espino used to work at the office of the president. The senator reiterates he had no involvement in the operations of the war on drugs and says he is willing to attend the House Squad Committee's next hearing. The House Squad Committee is investigating extrajudicial killings in the past administration's drug war, as well as crimes linked to Philippine offshore gaming operators. Social Welfare Secretary Rex Gatchalian denies claims that his agency snubbed the Vice President Sara Duterte's referral requests for aid. Speaking at the Senate's hearing on his agency's proposed 2025 funding, Gatchalian denies any misuse of Department of Social Welfare and Development funds.
Lalahatin ko na ho. Una, hindi ho pinagsasamantala ng DSWD yung pondo ng DSWD para sa taong bayan ho yan. We agree with that. Number two, as we speak right now, lahat ng tanggapan namin nakabukas. Araw-araw may mga lumalapit at araw-araw ina-assess yan ng ating mga social worker.
Gatchalian says he was willing to show messages exchanged between the DSWD and the Office of the Vice President to disprove the alleged rejection of referrals. According to Gatchalian, Ulysses Aguilar serves as DSWD's Assistant Secretary and handles the referrals from the OVP. He says Aguilar immediately communicated with OVP's handling officers, naming a certain Director Norman.
Si ASIC Yuli will gladly give the text exchange of text messages kasi tinanong namin sa kanya ano ba yung issue para alam namin ano yung titignan. In fact, ang sabi niya, wala rin ho siyang alam kasi lahat naman ng referral daw nila lugod naming tinatanggap. We can furnish you the screenshots, Madam Chair, but we have to ask permission of Director Norman if he will also consent.
Gatchalian likewise commits to sending a copy of a plaque that the DSWD received from the OVP in mid-2024. He says the plaque recognizes the DSWD as a valued partner of the OVP, having helped the latter's referrals. In August, Vice President Duterte claimed during the Senate budget deliberations that the DSWD rejected the OVP's referrals for the program Assistance to Individuals in Crisis Situation, saying that even government assistance was being politicized. The Office of the Ombudsman is dismissing the administrative charges against former Health Secretary Francisco Duque III in connection with the alleged anomalous purchase of billions of pesos worth of COVID-19 supplies owing to his separation from the service. In a 10-page order approved by Ombudsman Samuel Martires on September 30, the anti-graft body grants the motion for reconsideration filed by Duque in May, in which he maintained his innocence in the irregular procurement of face masks, test kits, and other medical supplies during the pandemic. The Ombudsman earlier found the Department of Health chief guilty of grave misconduct, conduct prejudicial to the best interest of the service, and gross neglect of duty. As a result, the retired Duque was ordered dismissed from the service with forfeiture of retirement benefits and perpetually disqualified from re-employment in the government. But the Ombudsman's office reconsidered its decision, citing Supreme Court jurisprudence on the administrative liability of public officers who had already left the service. According to the Ombudsman, the administrative charges were rendered moot as Duque's separation from service coincided with the end of former President Rodrigo Duterte's term of office in June 2022 due to his post's coterminous nature. Duque, along with former Budget Undersecretary Lloyd Christopher Lau, still faces related graft charges pending before the Sandigan Bayan. In his consolidated motion filed on May 14, Duque argued that the fund transfers were brought about by genuine urgency and necessity based on the real-time needs of the DOH and its sub-agencies. In a separate motion for reconsideration dated May 20, Duque sought the dismissal of the administrative charges against him by citing his separation from service.